A 20-minute picnic.
One of your craft services here.
These guys looked at me like, what the hell?
This is a true construction site.
Certainly is.
Yeah.
Certainly is.
Hardcore.
Well, I suspect the camera work will take all this in.
I hope so. That was kind of the whole idea, you know. They
what's
asked me where did I think we should set up, and the first thing that came to mind was naturally like under the bow of the azimuth or something over there, which is traditional boatyard.
Oh, you got it right.
And,
turn the camera off.
No full frontal.
I think it would have been good with that heart that you had there. That was.
I was just saying to Brittany, these are going to have to be measured on a scale of ambition. This is a 5.
Yeah, this is a 10.
Yeah, actually, yeah, 10. Okay.
So we're going to do this all in one take, right?
Yeah. So the idea is there's no cuts. So what you say stays. And the way we look doesn't get photoshopped. Right, what is today's date?
22.
22. Of?
Well, that would be October.
10. 22.
No, it's the 25th. Today's the 25th.
25th. Between Two Yetis, and we are
Is there film in your
10.
camera?
Yes, there's film.
Yeah, double check.
Oh, God. All right.
Right.
Yes.
Get you some water.
Okay, what time are we on? 10 past?
Hang on a second, I'll tell you. 3:12 right now.
3:12. So you've got exactly 3 minutes.
If you do have to leave,
Timing could be excellent. If this is passing behind you.
That works out.
I'm not sure if that's good or bad.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah?
That's all good.
Depends on how many mattresses are on it.
Oh, it's all good.
No,
Hey,
that's
the
not a
mattresses,
mattress
people got to
club.
sleep on those too. That's good. That's a good one. That's
I'm
actually
missing bicycles probably on this.
showing the working river in action. This is the best example right here.
Ooh, nice breeze.
okay. Are we ready?
You ready?
I don't know if I am. And we are back between Two Yetis, and we're live-ish from RMK Merrill Stevens in the heart of Miami. And I'm joined today by a plethora of present, past employees of the yard and present employee of the area,
correct-ish,
and then
And a broker that works in the area that's known Merrill Stevens for 40 years.
okay, so we should have a good round of stories and what's happened in Miami since you were here. Because Miami really was the hot spot of the industry, right?
Definitely. Merrill Stevens was the shipyard.
In fact, I should start by introducing everybody, just in case we don't know. So
I'm
this
Peter
is-
Florence. I worked at Merrill Stevens for 16 years, started in '84, and I now work for Quantum in Lauderdale, stabilising.
And you're British?
And I'm British. Well, I'm American now, stabilising.
And you're British?
And I'm British. Well, I'm American now.
No.
I'm
Mere
American.
technicality is British and hard.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And to your right,
My name is Byron Stauffer. I spent probably close to 10 years working in the shipyard here. I joined Peter from the yachting industry into here. I started my career. And then we left and went to work with Quantum, which I work now for about 21 years. Quantum.
21 years?
Yeah.
How long have you been at Quantum?
21 years.
We joined together, same.
Good Lord.
I was 5 yards ahead of him.
And to my left, is
Okay.
Mr. Leatherwood.
Aaron Leatherwood, currently representing RMK Merrill Stevens and Merrill Stevens Yachts, and I'm in charge of overseeing, let's call it the rebirth, the resurgence.
Resurgence.
Exactly.
The comeback kids.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And Parker.
Parker Bogue. I'm a yacht broker. I work for Luke Brown Yachts for 40 years. I've lived a mile down the street here, down 12th Avenue.
Are you originally from Miami?
from Michigan. Go figure.
Well,
What
no.
a culture shock. But I moved here after I got out of the Navy back in 1977 and spent a lot of time on the docks of Merrill Stevens back at that time when I was a young broker. In fact, interviewed as a broker for Fred Kirtland.
Right.
And I had my resume typed up, and I handed my resume, and he looked at it. I was about 21 years old. He looked at it, and he looked at me, looked at the resume, and he said, "You want to be a yacht brooker?" I had misspelled broker. I should have taken the exit door at that time. But it's good to be back, and I love what's going on here.
Awesome. And to your right,
I'm Mark Bailey, the Executive Director of the Miami River Marine Group. We represent the working river, the association of the industry, cargo shipping, recreational shipyards, marinas. This project is transformational for this area, for the industry, and for Miami. We couldn't be happier to be involved in it. I'm native Floridian, born and raised Florida, been in Miami for about 30 years.
But are you originally from the north of Florida, or?
Northeast of Barrier Island, off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida. Born
Okay.
and raised, and happy to be here and see what's happening here. Had a short tenure at Merrill Stevens in the early 2000s, and again, couldn't be more thrilled that this project is underway and is going to bring the attention of the marine industry world to the Miami River and to this area.
So right, we all want it to come back, don't we?
Oh yeah.
We're all behind you. When is it going to be finished?
I don't think it's ever going to be finished.
This is a trick question, isn't it?
That's a wrap.
So let's start. Let's start in the old days.
Quite literally only the beginning, right? It's a rebirth.
Yeah, it has to mature.
Absolutely.
So back in the old days, how did that? Do you remember?
Well,
when did the yard start?
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
the name Merrill Stevens goes back to 1885, actually
Oh,
in
right.
Jacksonville.
That's right.
It's started as a boiler making company and then turned shipbuilding. And
Boilermakers.
Yeah, which you know, at that time, all the Boilermakers turned into shipbuilders. And then they moved to Miami at the turn of the century. And it's been right here for ever since.
If I'm not mistaken,
exactly where we're sitting.
it's the oldest business in continuous existence in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Marine business, correct.
Didn't it close for 2 years?
Well,
Or was that just
I guess it's a bit of a technicality because closed to operations, but not closed to the state as a registered business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So you guys are the oldest.
Well, I started in '84. I came from the British Navy. I'm married to an American. That's how I got out. I didn't come on a raft. I flew over it, and I did an interview for 10 shipyards around Miami. That shows you how many were going. And
10?
10, all over the place. Norseman, Miami Ship, Miami Yacht Base, and Jones. Jones was the most scariest because Mr. Jones was ex-Navy, and I'm ex-Navy, and oh my goodness, it was like Mutiny on the Bounty, you know. It so scared me. And I came down here, and I got interviewed by Joe Sutton and Tom Dynan, ex-Navy, and I just loved the place straight away. I just liked the people, and they said, "Can you start tomorrow?" I said, "Can I start the day after?" Oh, okay. And, I really didn't know. It's a shipyard, you know. I'm Navy. I can work on boats. I didn't realise I'd joined the greatest yacht yard in the world at the time. Suddenly, you know, I went 3 weeks of working on burgers, Trumpies, Stevens, you know, tight spaces. Tom Dynan says, "There'll be a Fed ship come in." So, and then suddenly 5 of them came in. It was beautiful, you know. And I love the yard.
Because I remember you saying that the Fedship family, this is where they used
They
to
sent
do
their children here to, you know, we knew more about taking Fedships to beds than the Fedship, because they didn't used to do refits in those days. They just built boats. And this place here, if you wanted to learn about Fedships, Merrill Stevens was the place. Everybody came here.
Peter, you're wearing the hat for Highlander. That was a staple of Merrill
that
Stevens
was
for many years.
It's like the flagship of Merrill Stevens.
The Highlanders.
Oh yes. It was always here. I personally like the Enterprises. They were my favourites, and then the Carmacks and Impromptus. And
Remember the Jan Pamela?
Jan Pamela, yeah.
This is a vessel that was cut in half here at Merrill Stevens.
Yep.
Cut in half. And they added a section, 30 feet? Something like
40
that?
feet, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, what was it? Was it a Fed?
Yeah,
It was a Fed.
They built the
Powers. Bill Powers was the owner, I believe. They cut the son of a bitch in half.
Down there.
Not down the middle. Midships. The midships.
No, that has been done.
Added a 30-foot or so section to it.
In the middle.
In the middle.
Right.
It was off the chart in terms of what anybody had ever attempted to do before that. And it was amazing. And they did it.
Yeah.
They did it.
What was that? The owner was it? He was in that film, the Wolf.
Powers was his last name. From
Wolf
Texas.
Yeah,
from
the
Texas.
one in the film with Wolf of Wall Street. Wall Street. That was his boat.
That was his boat.
Yeah, yeah.
Chopping it in half and adding 30 foot was here.
Yeah.
Right. So Merrill Stevens was, what, at the forefront of everything here in the States?
Oh, yes. The projects we did, beside that, we'd have sections of jet fighters in here. They'd run the engines up on load. They did all different projects off the side, you know. We could do anything. Buses would come in, would work on buses, trains.
Pictures of Coast Guard cutters, pictures
This
of...
yard here?
This yard here, this yard here.
That
was
right now.
That was like a cemetery over there.
So this was the working
Yeah,
area.
this is where it
the
started,
working-
on this side. And that was added later.
Yeah.
Oh wow, so is that why that's now fine and this bit's getting completely redone?
Well, this is what will become, you know, a modern day super yacht facility. We're sitting on what is the foundation for the new ship lift. So, 2,700 ton ship lift will be installed right here in this basin in the coming months, and give this site its resurgence to be able to bring 200-foot yachts back up the Miami River, haul them out of the water, and, you know, let's say reclaim this former legacy.
Right.
You know, to get the background on it, back in the day, 40 years ago, there was plenty of yacht yard work in Miami alongside of Merrill Stevens. There was Miami Ship, there was Jones, but yacht repair industry lost yacht repair industry to Lauderdale because Dade County wouldn't give them the relief they needed on some tax things. So slowly the yacht repair facilities migrated to Broward County.
It was a tax thing.
It was they
Well,
collectively.
that's true. And you know what else? You know what else, Parker, is that the public policy makers didn't recognize they took the marine industry for granted. They let it slip away as a result of that. They let it
They
slip
didn't
away.
embrace it the way they should have.
Right now, they're recognizing, or we're trying to, through this project, we can show the economic diversity that the marine industry can provide to this community. It's not all hotels and neon lights. I mean, there are jobs here, there's good jobs here, and quite frankly, the world wants to be here. I'm a little biased, but the world wants to be here. Yacht owners, captains, crew, they all like Miami. They all want to be here. The cultural diversity, the institutions that have been developed recently, everybody wants to be here. Merrill Stevens is just the prime location and is going to provide the service that this industry the industry really needs. It's going to be unlike nothing from here to up to Norfolk.
Oh, you look across the bay at Miami Beach Marina, Key Biscayne,
Deep
Coconut
Harbor,
Grove, and Deepwater Harbor Island Gardens, and there's nothing else like it in South Florida.
Right.
They're just
it's
places to
phenomenal.
park your boats.
They're all marinas, and they're all marinas that are,
They need
either
work, and need
currently
service.
redeveloping or planning redevelopment for expansion, for larger yachts and more customers. And the demand is enormous. But, as you said, it aged out. You asked why. Just over a year ago, we were operating a ship lift here that was from the 50s. So it literally aged out. It was past its prime, and it was time for modernization.
So this is Remy Koch. Is it? Was his name? The guy.
RMK, Remy Coach.
And he was Remy Coach.
Yeah.
And he was just travelling down the river, so I heard, and somebody said, "Hey, you should buy this one."
So Mr. Coach knows RMK from its former glory, as has been described here today, and that's really, his passion is the maritime industry. Of course, he's very well diversified. He has many business interests, but his passion is the maritime industry. And his guidance to myself, to all of us, is restore Merrill Stevens to its former glory. And so luckily we have someone who's investing in the business, the brand, and in Miami to make that possible.
Is he getting the tax relief for doing this, putting this investment in?
Well, I don't think that Miami currently offers the same tax benefits that Fort Lauderdale does, but certainly there should be more attention paid to that,
So
that we can further develop Miami. If you look around, just adjacent to us here, we have a 7-story waterfront shopping mall being erected with 4 stories of residence above it. Behind us on this side, I don't know how many stories this new apartment building is. That's just open, now leasing. Across the river on that side, a new development site, where they've just finished demolition and starting construction over there. So there's definitely a lot of interest in Miami that wasn't here as much as 4 or 5 years ago. And for someone who's new to Miami, my perspective is everyone had turned their back to the river, and maybe it was it was of less interest. And now all of a sudden let's pay some attention to it. This is a phenomenal resource here.
It's a viable industry. Like I said, it can create jobs that are well paid. One of the challenges that I know that you're feeling, that you've been helpful in, is trained labor, skilled labor. So an issue across the board, I think, is where are we getting the skilled labor to work on these yachts? I know RMK Merrill Stevens and others along the river, Hurricane Cove and 5th Street Marina, Epic, they're all involved in this Marine Services Training Academy and over at Lindsay Hopkins, where they're trying to train some of the future labor, some of the skilled labor that's needed to work on these yachts. It's a big issue.
When you worked here, did you work on the boats, or did you just started as a
No,
boat?
I came out of the Navy as a navigator, and I started selling boats right away. So I've never worked on them, although I'm a merchant marine.
What was your first boat that you sold?
What's that?
What was the first boat you sold?
53-foot Hatteras.
You remember it?
I happened. I sold it to Cleve Jones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who's
But
Cleve Jones?
he used to own Jones Bogart before he died.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But something else that I think is worthy of being mentioned, this level of boating, yachting, 200-foot boats, these are international people. Miami is an international town.
That's right.
Fort Lauderdale is not. Fort Lauderdale could fit in the back pocket of Miami and not even know it's there.
They all
If
wanna
you
be
own
here.
if
Right,
you
they
own
all
a
wanna
big
be
yacht,
here.
and if you needed to come visit your yacht during a refit, would you rather go up the river to Dishwater Bland, Fort Lauderdale, or go to an international city where there is a
theater.
host of things
Right.
that can be done here that can be done nowhere else on planet Earth? All things the same, where would you want your boat to go?
That's
This-
the same for the cruise.
This is now an opportunity.
Yeah,
Much
the
nicer
captains,
place.
crew, and the owners. They
But
all
do
want to be
you think genuinely you can pull something away from Lauderdale? Or do you feel like you're adding to it?
I think
They're
they're
adding
adding
to it. I don't think,
Absolutely.
and I
There's
don't
enough.
think there's any intention at all of pulling anything away from it. Personally, I'm a huge advocate of the industry. For me, first, it's bringing the boats to the U.S. Secondly, bringing the boats to South Florida. And then third, they can make a decision if they need spend their time in West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, or Miami. But the demand far exceeds the supply, so certainly we're adding to it.
Right, you're based in Europe, aren't you?
Half and half.
Half and half.
6 months outside and 6 months over here as well.
So we're all US based, aren't we? So
My main home is here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So does when you're in Europe, do they see? I always see America as the refit center of the yachting industry, never really as the building side of the industry.
There's quite a bit going on in Europe. And most of the refits and stuff do go back to some of the builders that built the yacht originally. They're doing a lot of refits now. MB92, which is pretty well known throughout. They've expanded quite a lot in different areas. So yeah, there is a lot of retrofits going that side. I do see the need to do something here in South Florida to try to keep the boats on this side as well.
When you two worked here, were you building boats or were you just refitting?
Repairing.
Repairing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were flat out. We were flat out, yeah.
Regular maintenance and refit and
we
painting
did,
and the whole thing.
Like, we were involved more with stabilizers, ship stabilizers. We did the biggest installation in America to recent times. We did down here, we did it on the Enterprise 4. I went down to see the boat in St. Thomas. The captain says these what do I say? These German stabilizers are terrible. He said, can you do something about it? I said, yeah, we put Vospers. I'm the Vosper rep for Merrill Stevens. So we did the installation here, massive, absolutely massive. Right up to recently, it's the biggest installation ever done in America.
What, right back there?
Yeah, yeah.
Good Lord.
All the works, you know, so much work in Europe, you know. We just, except for this place, we're just not investing like the Europeans.
Yeah.
This is, you know, this
But
place
America
is in
does
a
have
bubble.
America does have an infrastructure problem, in as much as it is
That's
for
right.
Yeah.
They have, and they have land issue as well, especially here on the river. Part of our agenda for our organization and Merrill Stevens is certainly fulfilling that is to utilize the waterfront, the working river waterfront, for purposes just like this. I mean, not too many years ago, the state of Florida, the electorate voted over 70% they wanted to protect the working waterfront. And so what we're doing, and through this example, is we're showing what potential can occur, what can happen here. And this is, we want to be encouraged and supportive of everything that they're doing here that would shine a light on the river and the working river element of Miami.
Now, if you love Miami so much, why are you working in Fort Lauderdale?
My main office is in Fort Lauderdale, but I work out of my house.
Oh, okay.
And my cell phone is my office. The industry has changed that much. And if you have clients already, it's not so much about trying to meet new people, it's servicing the existing clients that you have. A lot of my clients are here in Miami. We're here in Miami because the boating is so much better. Fort Lauderdale has the Intercoastal Waterway or the Atlantic Ocean. You've got downtown Biscayne Bay, Key Biscayne, Florida Keys. You can go to a Miami Heat game in your yacht here. All of these things are impossible to do in Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, or all points north. All those big boys come down through here eventually to enjoy boating. This is boat repair and refit and enjoying boating at the same time. It does both.
I used to be so proud when I used to come up the river from Lauderdale, bringing a yacht down. We'd come up the river. This is a beautiful river, absolutely gorgeous. And then this is my yacht. I'm not proud of it.
See, for me as an Englishman, Miami always has that 80s connotation to it. The Miami Vice, the Don Arano days.
Yeah, right.
That is still Miami, and it makes it a little underworldy.
Well, that's where you gotta turn
You've got
the
to
page.
get out of that.
But I
gotta
don't think you need
turn-
to, because that is what makes Miami cool.
Hey,
isn't
listen,
it?
warts and all. Warts and all.
Yeah, this is.
If you're over in Europe and you're talking to yachties and say, where you from? Well, I'm from Fort Lauderdale. Where are you from? Miami. Where's the conversation going to go?
Yeah.
Where's the conversation going to go?
Well, did any of you know Aaron?
I know.
So, he was the 6'4",
Live by the sword.
guy.
Live by the sword.
and died by it. Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about it. I've noticed this.
Well, he's not here to defend himself.
But when Byron and I worked here, this yard used to be full of celebrities, continually.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
Continually. You know,
Right.
film stars, major business people.
Right.
But that was the 80s. That was the 80s,
Yeah, but they could
90s.
get their plane to the airport, their private
Yeah.
jets.
Bernie
They
Little.
they were here in 5 minutes.
But they all, I was speaking to somebody who lived here for the last 20 years, and she said that they've, all that, you know, Phil Collins, whoever it was, is always on their bicycles riding around the beach. Just doesn't happen anymore. It's become so tourist
He still
driven.
lives here though, doesn't he? He didn't
Phil
have a
does,
yacht,
yeah.
so he's irrelevant.
Well, I think that what Aaron was saying earlier, this is you've got an incredible legacy here, but I think it's time that we look in the future, and this represents the future. And sure, there's a history that's easy to revert back to Miami Vice and all the pro or con, but this is the future, and you can easily identify the Miami River, whatever era or whatever section of time you want to. But what we're sitting on right now is the future, and this is exciting, and we need to redefine what's happening here on the river.
So in terms of the river development then, you guys, is there any other reef facility being...
There are a handful.
Built.
What comes to mind, Hurricane Cove is doing some real aggressive development.
Absolutely.
Apex Marine is just came down to Miami, which is needless to say, a welcome. You've got 5th Street Marina, which is doing some development, has development plans that way. Trying to think, there's a handful of others, I'm sure. That
Well, the new owners of Norseman are talking
Norseman
of redevelopment.
Norseman Shipbuilding.
and,
Yeah, 'cause Rick sold, right?
Correct. Correct.
Who's he sold it to? Do we know yet?
Marty, I forgot his last name.
Yeah, Marty's operating.
Yeah.
That's a
It was Rick
act.
Herring. It was
But
Rick Herring.
they're still going through a bit of a transition. They need some time for planning. Now, this didn't happen overnight here on this side either. Mr. Coach bought this property 5 years ago. It's many years
Wow.
of planning, and
Okay.
engineering, and permitting, and re-engineering, and re-permitting.
Is that what you guys help with?
It's,
Permit side?
it's very much a long-term investment.
Yeah.
It is unfortunately a slow process, and it takes a lot of effort, a lot of concentrated effort to get the approvals. There are dozens and dozens of state, local, and federal agencies, departments, approval processes that have to take place to do a project, any project that touches the water. But one with this kind of capability is not seen in Miami in a long time. So I'm sure that it is a learning curve for all parties.
Yeah.
The whole approval process.
Everyone's really looking to you, aren't they? That's it. It's if you can make it.
Well, certainly it will become sort of a hub for all things maritime related in Miami, marine repair related in Miami. As far as the yachting industry goes, it will be a state-of-the-art facility, completely eco-friendly. Every ounce of wash water and rainwater is collected at this site and goes through a purification system. It's built to modern standards that you won't find anywhere else, and so this is the future of this type of facility. It's certainly not a small investment in time and planning and financial investment. It's taking all of your time here today and many others that are talking about it daily and interested in the resurgence. And I think just in general, it's exciting for the entire industry. It's breathing life into Miami, certainly in the yachting industry, but it's helping all things South Florida, all things repair and refit in the U.S. and
Absolutely.
Cool.
Well, it's the talk of Fort Lauderdale everywhere, you know. Merrill Stevens coming back.
Yeah.
Because all the young captains we looked after are now major players, and they'd love to see this place back again. Well, we can see the infrastructure's going. It's going to be great.
I think that's what's nice. He's not trying to do it on the cheap. He's just doing it properly.
Yes. Whereas proper workshops, ship store, crew lounge, small cafeteria on site, VIP space for owners and owners' reps, naval architects, brokers, all the likes.
This is becoming an advert for Merrill Stevens, isn't it?
Well, like what Parker was saying, it's just, you know, the world wants to be here.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. And unfortunately, years ago, as I mentioned earlier, policymakers, government officials, state, local, federal, they sort of took it for granted here. And they watched it slip away to Fort Lauderdale and other places offshore. And now we're trying to get it back. And it's going to take an education process, but the best education is when they look at what's happening here on this site, at this project. This is the easiest thing to understand and visualize what this means. Again, jobs, job creation, and putting Miami back on the map in the marine industry where it may have moved away years ago.
Just talking about that then, so the boat show, Miami Boat Show is changing dramatically next year. Is that, I assume that's going to be for the better rather than the...
We're all looking forward to it.
You mean as far as the new location?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a bonus. I believe, my understanding is that it will be a bonus, a benefit to have it all in this new location.
Yeah.
Supposed to improve accessibility,
Exactly.
transportation, parking, relieve congestion, make it easier to move between the two shows. There's the Miami Boat Show at Key Biscayne, and then there's the Miami Yacht Show, which will now be over here on the mainland.
You know, there's a reason these big yachting events occur in places like Miami. If an international boat show in Texas or in Jersey doesn't make a lot of sense.
Doesn't even sound right.
It's in the wintertime where, you know, if you're a salesman selling Sea Rays in Traverse City, Michigan, or own a small yacht repair facility in New Jersey or in Maryland, this is the measure. This is the gold standard in Miami. And when this is up and running, you know, to take a line from that movie Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. How do you not respect Mr. Coach for committing this amount of millions of dollars on such a long-term, and how do you not fall in line and get on board with that confidence? How do you not? You just get in line. You know, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and there's so little good news to write up about in Miami, where if it's just another condo, but when somebody's making that kind of mega investment for something that may have a 10-year payoff, you got to respect it. You got to respect it, particularly if you're in the industry.
He's had real vision.
Right. You got to respect it.
And he's not even American.
No, you.
Well, the day is young. You can't tell. I mean, all kinds of things can happen.
Has anybody got any stories they want to share from the old days?
Well, I remember back in the days of the Miami River cops, going up and down the river on sea trails, the accepted protocol was if you saw a body, get the Rolex first, then call it in. They didn't call it, the boat hook was called watch hook. But that does go back quite a way.
I can remember the Rasmus big fed ship. A.J. Anderson was the captain, and the boat was at Lauderdale, and he said, I'm taking it to Merrill Stevens to have a refit for 6 months. And he said, come for the ride, Pete. So I'm on the bridge and we're coming up the Miami River. He says, they've got a place for me in the South Ship, the west side of the South Ship. And as we come up the river, you can see down there, there's a boat in the shed. And he's kind of, what's wrong with that captain? Doesn't he know about tides and leaving? Who the hell trained him? I said, you did, it's your old mate. For the battered bull. The battered bull was over there.
Battered bull.
But A.J. Anderson says, Merrill Stevens is the only shipyard, he says, on this face of this earth, where you can bring your boat in for a refit, come back 6 months later and it'd be perfect. Ron Baker will be there, everything's perfect. Away you go. Jack Cousteau, you know, he left here after we worked on it. We never heard anything from him until we got to Tahiti, and it was weeks later. We don't know. And he goes, boat ran great. You people are fantastic, you know. So there's lots of stories like that about.
Where did you used to be, Huckleberry Finn?
Oh yeah, when I came here, you know, from Britain, I come here and I can't believe, you know, I'm being paid to work here. It's so nice, you know, even with Tom Dinan yelling at me. And I used to sometimes sit there, and I got another Navy buddy, and we took our shoes off and we were in the water and we're fishing. In the river. It's like Huckleberry Finn, isn't it? You know? If I told the rest of the British Navy, they'd all come and join us. We painted 2 British warships down the pool. We went down there. One of the boats was the one of them sunk in the... No, it was the Antelope. Yeah, we painted them down there, and the trouble is British warships drink. You know, they got drink. And we've got our paint, you know, painters are like stokers, you know, or gunners in the Navy. You know, crazy people. Trying to keep the painters sober. All they got is this grey paint. Just slap it on, just slap it on. Tom Dinan's going out there yelling, you know. But just trying to keep a workforce. Painting a British warship, you know.
Sober.
Trying to keep them sober, yeah. And then we did another one.
Yeah, partially. Do you need to go?
Yes, I do actually.
Mark, thank you very
I can
much.
peel off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
If anybody else is do you want to keep going? You got more stories?
I've had enough of this place. I'm starting to have nightmares.
Don't get him going.
Yeah.
You got to pay him a couple quid if he's going to stay there.
Yeah, I'll get to the gate and then
It's about cocktail time. It's about time for a cocktail, right?
Yeah,
Well, thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice meeting you, Mark.
Likewise. Likewise.
I wouldn't say that to Rob Moran, but it was nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you, Peter.
Parker, good to see
Pleasure
you.
Good to see you.
All right.
Parker,
Good to
thanks
see
for
you,
your
man.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, likewise. Likewise. Aaron.
Sir, thank you very much.
All right.
Come back down and see the final product.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's just fantastic what you're doing. Look, we can see. I'd just like to know how much fill you had to buy to
Get it to this level.
the concrete here. If you made a hole in the concrete, you look down and you could see the tides coming in and out, and that's like 100 feet from the riverfront.
Thousands
Who didn't
of
give me a...
cubic yards of
I did.
fresh
Is this
fill.
like a party can give, or?
You bet. You bet.
Right.
But at this
What do you
stage of the game, you've got to be
Take a look.
worried about
You
the
got his?
workforce. I've got mine, yeah, it's great.
4?
But Aaron, when we go for all these European shipyards, repair, they're full of Americans working on them.
Sure.
MB92, whoever comes on board is going to be a Brit or an American.
Yeah.
Brittany wants, sir.
Oh, photo. These things are. That's Mark's, isn't it? Hang on 1 second. Hey, Mark, you got your phone?